Hospital. Former Israeli leader Ariel Sharon's health will keep deteriorating. Jerusalem. CNN. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's health will continue to deteriorate, a hospital director said Monday. Doctors are unable to stabilize Sharon's renal functions and other vital systems, said Ziv Rothstein, director of Sheba Medical Center in Tel HaShomer, Israel. Rothstein added that the danger to Sharon's life has grown. The 85-year-old has been in a coma for 8 years and is suffering from multiple organ failure. News broke Wednesday that his health had recently worsened. Sharon is known as a highly decorated, if controversial, Israeli military figure who became prime minister in 2001. He slipped into a coma in 2006 when he suffered a major stroke that led doctors to put him under an anesthesia and on a respirator. His term as prime minister came to an end, rising through military ranks. Born in 1928 in Kfar Malai, a community that would later become part of Israel, Sharon graduated from high school in 1945 and began working with the Haganah, a militant group advocating for Israel's independence. He began his rise through the Israeli military ranks in 1953. Sharon helped establish an elite commando unit and was eventually promoted to be an army major general. He held his rank during 1967's Six-Day War, which ended with Israel controversially expanding its territory. Sharon went on to play major roles in subsequent Israeli military conflict as well, including as head of the Army's Armored Reserve Division during the 1973 Yom Kippur War. He then began segueing into government, including stints as prime minister. Yitzhak Rabin's military advisor, agriculture minister, and defense minister from 1981 to 1983. Invasion of Lebanon. Sharon also orchestrated Israel's invasion of Lebanon, an effort aimed at Palestine Liberation Organization (PLO) fighters that also left hundreds of Lebanese civilians dead. His actions led many in the Arab world to call him the Butcher of Beirut. An official Israeli inquiry found Sharon indirectly responsible for the September 1982 killings of as many as 2,000 Palestinians at the Sabra and Shatila refugee camps outside of Beirut, Lebanon. The report, which led to Sharon's prompt resignation, determined the then defense minister did nothing to stop Christian militiamen allied with Israel from entering the camps, despite fears they might seek to avenge the killing of their leader the previous day. Sharon did not stay out of the spotlight for long. His advisor Rhiannon Gibson said Sharon felt betrayed by his government. Sharon also sued Time for a magazine article implying that he had foreknowledge and a greater role in this massacre, with a jury later finding the US-based publisher guilty of defamation but not of malice. Becoming prime minister, Sharon went on to hold several other cabinet posts from 1984 to 2001, when he won a special election to become prime minister. By then, as head of the Likud party, Sharon was considered a hawk, and early on he took the offensive by sending tanks and troops into Palestinian territory and ordering the assassination of militant leaders. But Sharon also took steps toward peace, such as agreeing with the late PLO leader Yasser Arafat on a timeline to halt Israeli-Palestine violence and resume peace talks. But that effort was undermined by Sharon's own party, which backed a resolution to never allow the creation of a Palestinian state. Sharon later participated in talks with regional and world powers to discuss a roadmap for Middle East peace. Immediately after he fell ill in early 2006, his power was transferred to Vice Premier Ehud Olmert. Surgeons removed 20 inches of his intestine the following month, and that April, Israel's cabinet formally ended his runs as prime minister after declaring him permanently incapacitated. The former prime minister's health has fluctuated during the time he has been in the coma. In January 2013, doctors said testing on Sharon indicated some brain activity when he was shown photos of his son and heard his son's voice. Feds arrest one in connection with fire at Chinese consulate in San Francisco. CNN. Federal authorities have arrested one man in connection with a fire last week at the entrance to the Chinese consulate in San Francisco, FBI spokesman Peter Lee said Monday. According to a criminal complaint, a man named Yang Fen called the Daly City, California Police Department on Friday and said in Mandarin that he started the fire at the consulate. The FBI reviewed the 911 call on Saturday, and Daly City police went to Fen's residence and detained him. The complaint said the Fen admitted to setting the fire while being interviewed by federal authorities. Footage from surveillance cameras showed the fire began Wednesday night after someone emerged from a parked minivan. poured 2 buckets of gasoline on the front door of the consulate and ignited it, the Chinese consulate said last week in a statement. We strongly condemn this despicable attack, Wang Chang, the consulate spokesman, told reporters at the time during a news briefing outside the consulate. We urge the U.S. side to take all necessary measures to provide adequate protection for Chinese consular personnel and properties. Chang characterized the fire as a violent crime that not only targeted the consulate but also its employees and residents living nearby. Li said last week there was no indication the fire was an act of terrorism. There were no injuries reported in the fire, though a small number of employees were in the building when it began, Chang told CNN affiliate KGO. Surveillance video obtained exclusively by CNN affiliate KTVU appears to show a person standing in front of the consulate. Then seconds later on the grainy video, there is a ball of fire that erupts in front of the building, and the person can be seen walking to vehicle parked only a few feet away. The vehicle then drives off. Teen convicted in Steubenville rape released. CNN. One of 2 former high school football players convicted in a rape that shook the Eastern Ohio community of Steubenville has been released from juvenile detention, his attorney said Monday. Malik Richmond, who was 16 when he was convicted last year of raping a 60-year-old girl in Steubenville in 2012, recently completed his designated time at a juvenile correctional facility. Richmond's family said in a statement released by attorney Walter Madison. Richmond has been sentenced to a minimum of 1 year in a juvenile correctional facility, but he was credited for the time he served before the trial. He is a better, stronger person and looks forward to school life and spending time with family, the statement said. Bob Fitzsimmons, the attorney of Richmond's victim, called it disheartening that the statement failed to mention the girl at the center of the case, whom Richmond and his co-defendant secret for life. Richmond and Steubenville high school football teammates Trenton Mays were convicted in March of the rape after a trial that divided the football-crazy Rust Belt town of Steubenville. Lurid text messages, social media posts, as well as cell phone pictures and videos helped raise the national profile of the case, which revolved around Richmond's and Mays' actions during a series of end-of-summer parties in August 2012. It attracted the attention of bloggers who questioned everything from the behavior of the football team to the integrity of the investigation. Mays, who was 17 when he was convicted, also was found guilty of disseminating a nude photo of a minor and was sentenced to 2 years. Both Richmond and Mays have been classified as Tier 2 sex offenders and will be required to report to their local sheriff's office every 6 months for the next 20 years.